Welcome to Buckeyes Tomorrow Morning. For Saturday, April 5th, I'm your host, Tom Orr. The Texas game in 147 days, the game against Michigan in 238 days. If you're planning your next event, make it unforgettable with Grateful Griddle, Columbus's favorite food truck, serving up smash burgers, gourmet sandwiches, and good vibes. Book your catering today at GratefulGriddleOH.com. Looking forward to perhaps having a little bit of Grateful Griddle while they are on campus next week. While we are on campus to cover the end of Ohio State spring football, we are heading into the home stretch of spring football. We'll have coverage for you of the student appreciation practice on Saturday, a couple days of interviews next week, and then, of course, the spring game next Saturday, April 12th. Tickets available at ohiostatebuckeyes.com. Should be a great day. Always fun to get back out into the horseshoe, see a little bit of football, get a little sneak preview of the upcoming team. Before we get into all of that and into the thrust of today's show, going to let you also know that the Buckeyes picked up a commitment on Friday from linebacker CJ Sana. He's a 3-star in-state linebacker prospect. Tony Gerderman and Mark Givler broke down the impact of that commitment in the Buckeye Weekly podcast feed on Friday afternoon. You can find that on our YouTube channel as well, youtube.com/Buckeye Huddle. So you can find that recruiting news there. Today we're going to be talking about the Ohio State offensive line. Going to let you hear from a couple of the new guys on the Ohio State offensive line. One of them a transfer, Ethan Onianwa, who transferred from Rice. Very, very talented player. Could have probably ended up in the NFL draft this year. You'll get to hear from him about that and a bunch of other stuff. And then you're also going to get a chance to hear a little bit from Carter Lowe, very highly touted in-state offensive line prospect from Toledo. He's coming in this year, just sort of starting his Ohio State career. Going to get a chance to hear from him a little bit as well. But we will start with Ethan Onianwa. As I mentioned, he came from Rice, was a multi-year starter there, started a couple years at right tackle and then at left tackle. So he's got plenty of experience in college level, but it is a little bit of a step up from Rice to Ohio State. So what has that adjustment been like for him so far?
Probably just like the competitiveness for sure, that was mostly like one of the reasons why I wanted to come here too, because you could tell by like the strength program, the guys feel like competitive guys who want to be better, be the best, and that's been the biggest difference for sure. But I'm loving it though.
A note on Onianwa, this is the time of year when we get lots of updates on heights and weights and all that kind of stuff. Onianwa came in at 365 pounds. Ryan Day had said earlier in the spring that he knew that was going to have to change, and that has changed quite a bit already. He's already down 30 pounds, down to 335. That's about where he thinks he's going to end up playing. Just wanted to let you share that little note there as well. So when Onianwa went in the portal, what made him want to come to Ohio State?
So kind of what I was saying earlier about the culture, really. Like you can just tell that the guys here are competitive. They want to be great. They want to be the best in the country, and they showed that last year. And yeah, it just really stood out because back at my old school, there was like a really good family connection. I was kind of afraid of like whether I'll find that at another school, but here like the guys were really close knit. They're all pushing each other and trying to be the best.
As I mentioned, Onianwa has played both right tackle and left tackle in college. He is playing exclusively at left tackle this spring. That's something that they're trying to do. It seems like with the new guys, just give them one spot to worry about because you're trying to adjust to a new playbook, a new team, all that kind of stuff. Some of the older guys, the veterans, are kind of bouncing between a couple different positions. Seems like the new guys kind of stayed in one spot for Onianwa. That spot is left tackle. So he has played both right and left tackle in college in the past. So how is that adjustment going to being just a full-time left tackle?
In high school I played right, and then by my junior year, by senior year, moving to left. And it was a pretty seamless process. The coaches at Rice, Coach Davis, he was really great in helping me transition, and I haven't really felt a significant difference or challenge.
When Onianwa was in the portal, there were a lot of folks who called him the best offensive lineman available in the winter portal window, certainly the best tackle available in the winter portal window, and he's projected by some, if he had turned pro, to be potentially as high as a second-round pick. So that's potentially a whole lot of money and a good chance to start your pro career. So what made him decide to come back to college and then to spend that extra year at Ohio State?
Yeah, that was on my mind, but at the same time, I also realized that I wanted to continue to develop and continue to be great, which is why I wanted to find a good school where I can have a good O-line coach who's going to help and mentor me. And Coach Bone is it. Like I've always noticed myself getting better and improving at things that were big discrepancies in my game.
Onianwa is not the only new face in that offensive line room. There are plenty of other players as well, but there's also some new coaches, led by new Ohio State offensive line coach and co-offensive coordinator, Tyler Bowen. So what does Onianwa think of Tyler Bowen so far?
He's a really good communicator. We meet a lot, and he's really good at just kind of like pointing out the fine details and how you can improve your game. And then when it comes to different skills and everything, just how to like fine tune it during practice and everything.
And finally, gonna let you hear a little bit about Ethan Onianwa, straight from Ethan Onianwa. How would he describe himself as a player?
I try to live by being the hardest working person on the field. So, I mean, that's what I want to do. Like, I want to spend the most time watching film, spend the most time like after practice getting extra work, because I want to have that edge. And I feel like that's how I would describe myself.
So that'll do it for Ethan Onianwa, probably the front runner for the starting left tackle position as of right now, but we'll see. There's plenty of time to get that whole thing sorted out as they figure out who the best 5 offensive linemen are and where they would all fit in together. So now we're going to move on from the new face who's a veteran to a new face who's a freshman, and that is Carter Lowe. He's not really a new face around the Woody Hayes Athletic Center. He's a Toledo native, and we saw him at a whole lot of Ohio State football games and practices and camps the last few years. He's been a regular in the Woody Hayes Athletic Center, and that's now where he's spending most of his days. So now Carter Lowe, he has a little bit, he's used to Ohio State. He's not used to some of the coaches he's working with, because he committed to Justin Fry. He was all those visits. He was visiting Justin Fry, and then Justin Fry, after the national championship game, he headed off to go be the offensive line coach for the Arizona Cardinals. So now Carter Lowe is playing for Tyler Bowen. So how has that been going so far? This is going to be 2 answers butted together back to back.
It's been really good so far. I didn't know what to expect at first. I wasn't familiar with him before he came here. I got a meeting with him when he first came here, got to know him pretty well. We're building a really good relationship. He's been really good to all the freshmen. He's been pushing us for sure, but the transition has been really good so far. It's been really good. Obviously we had all the freshmen had a really good relationship with Coach Fry. Then seeing him leave was actually a little hard, but we all kept our minds open with Coach Bowen, and we're liking him a lot. We've been developing relationships with him, and he's been really good to us so far.
Just like Ethan Onianwa, Carter Lowe is playing just one position this spring. They're not moving him around, one of those new guys I mentioned earlier. And that position he's playing, well, it's just like Ethan Onianwa. He's playing left tackle. Now, I would certainly not expect Carter Lowe as a true freshman to be in the mix for a starting job at left tackle this year, but what are some reasonable expectations from Carter Lowe for year 1?
Just to try my hardest this spring, obviously move in the fall camp, do my job, and wherever, they're going to put the best 5 on the field at the end of the day. So whatever Coach Bowen thinks, that's what's going to be his decision.
We've mentioned Tyler Bowen's name a couple times, the offensive line coach now, but he's not the only offensive line coach. They lost a couple guys out of that offensive line room. It wasn't just Justin Fry who left. Mike Seleni, who was sort of the assistant offensive line coach, he is now running the offensive line room at UNLV. So with some new faces there, they had to fill those spots, and they really now have 4 different guys working with the offensive line. They really loaded up there. So that's a lot of new coaches all trying to work together. How has that gone so far? And this, once again, is going to be a couple answers from Carter Lowe butted together back to back.
It definitely helps a lot. Whenever you have a question, it's so easy to get feedback. You don't have to ask just Coach Bowen, you guys, Dickey, whoever you want to ask. There's just so many resources. So compared to, last year, we had three guys. It was Justin Fry and then Coach Lean and then one other guy. But it's been a lot different, and I've been liking it a lot more. I definitely can say that. We hold a lot of meetings. So, talking to specific coaches about different things, all of them explain stuff a little different. And just to be able to find one that is, it speaks to you in the way you like it too. It's been a lot helpful.
Carter Lowe was one of the true freshmen who got an opportunity to get a little bit of an early start and get a little bit of a sneak peek into what really goes into a college football playoff run. He was invited, along with most of the other freshmen coming in, to join the team, go through practices, travel to the bowl sites, and really get a first-hand look at what a run to a national championship really means and what it really takes to get there. So how helpful was it for Carter Lowe to be there for that playoff run with the team?
So Coach Day asked all the seniors before we came in. They asked me if they were okay for us to come with the playoffs with them, and they all just gave it a green light. They wanted us to experience that for the next time we're in the playoffs, so we could see that. I think that's helped tremendously. I think it made us mature just being around those guys and knowing what to do when we do get to that place.
Mentioned earlier that Carter Lowe is a Toledo, Ohio native, and he is not the only Northwest Ohio, NWO, I'm sure Tony Gerderman would want me to say, not the only Northwest Ohio guy in that offensive line room. Luke Montgomery, who earned a starting role during that playoff run, he's from Findlay, Carter Lowe from Toledo, and so those guys have crossed paths quite a bit over the years. So how's Carter Lowe seen fellow Northwest Ohio native Luke Montgomery grow over the years? This, once again, is going to be a couple answers back to back.
I think I've been watching him for a while. I've known him, like you said, but I'm just seeing him grow as a leader has been really cool. Just seeing him a while back, I think I was a sophomore, he was a senior. We always played against each other. But seeing him move into that leader role has been really cool to see. Just always talking to the younger guys, encouraging us, telling us what we need to do, and not only the younger guys, but the other guys just encourage us as a whole.
Well, hope you guys enjoyed that. We'll probably have some more sound bites from those offensive linemen. There were some more interesting interviews there, and we have a bunch of stuff we just haven't gotten a chance to go through yet, because boy, there is a lot going on right now, but we'll try and get to all of it in the coming days and coming weeks, kind of get you caught up on all this stuff and let you hear and see some of these new guys, just so you sort of get to know some of the new faces on this year's Ohio State team, because with all those guys headed off the NFL, there are going to be a lot of new faces on this year's Ohio State team. So we're going to get a chance to see all of those new faces coming up on Saturday during the spring appreciation practice, student appreciation practice. Going to be lots of photos and videos and instant analysis from inside the Woody Hayes Athletic Center for you at BuckeyeHuddle.com. That all starts at 11:30 Saturday morning. We are planning probably to have an instant reaction show for you by early afternoon on our YouTube channel. We'll see if we can do that live. There's all sorts of issues and restrictions with all the students in there, so we'll see what we can do. But you'll get an instant reaction show one way or the other Saturday afternoon at youtube.com/BuckeyeHuddle. Then we're going to have 2 more interview sessions next week. First one with Ryan Day and the coordinators. That'll be Monday around 11 a.m. And then Tuesday, we're going to get the wide receivers. That'll be coming up Tuesday, or again, around 11 a.m., thereabouts. And then the spring game coming up next Saturday. Hard to believe spring football already over. Had kind of a compressed schedule this year. They crunched all those practices into one less week than they normally do. So a little bit of a different schedule this week, or this season, but spring ball will wrap up as usual with the spring game next Saturday. We will be there. If you want to be there, tickets are still available. Get those at ohiostatebuckeyes.com. But there's going to be plenty to talk about all this week. Then, of course, the White House trip to celebrate the national championship. That'll be next Monday. That'll be the 14th. We'll be there for that as well. Did I mention there's a lot going on? There's also a lot going on with the Ohio State basketball program. We'll try and get you a show on that to sort of get you caught up on all the guys who are headed out, all the guys who are coming back, all the guys who are coming in through the transfer portal. There has been a ton of news there as well. We'll get a show on that as well. This is, take a deep breath. It is a busy time, and that means it is a great time to be a member of BuckeyeHuddle.com. That's where Tony, Kevin, and I cover the team. Mark covers recruiting. We got our whole team of X's and O's gurus there as well, all to make you a smarter football fan. That is all at BuckeyeHuddle.com and also at YouTube.com/BuckeyeHuddle. That'll do it for today. Thank you guys all for joining us. Have a great day. We'll talk to you tomorrow.